Here we're going to look at an application of Aristotle's ethics, specifically with his development of practical wisdom, and we're going to apply it to the context of business ethics. So we're going to be looking at Aristotelian practical wisdom in business ethics, two neglected components, an article by Steyl. So if you recall, the soul is divided up into two main components. You have the rational part and the non-rational part. And the non-rational part is going to be concerned with the virtues of character. The rational part is going to be concerned with developing intellectual and practical wisdom. Specifically in Greek, practical wisdom is called phronesis. Phronesis is calculation or deliberation about an action, a dispositional state, so a certain encountering of a situation where you can decide and interpret, right, how it is you should act. So what is the situation, what's going on, I can recognize it, I know then my options, and I pick the option best suited towards the ends I want to realize, which would be eudaimonia. Remember, this kind of well-being or a flourishing. So what we do is, of course, we don't deliberate about ends because the end is eudaimonia. So what concerns practical wisdom? Well, we deliberate about means to ends. So, in my pursuit of the good life, I need to, in a given situation, discern, okay, what is it that, I need to do here in this situation to best realize my ultimate goals? And now that might mean my ultimate goals of, let's say, the good, which is eudaimonia, can be in the back of my mind unconsciously there, and yet influence, okay, I need to pass this exam because I want to pass this class, and it's in passing this class that I work towards, right, achieving eudaimonia. But I need to know, okay, how is it that I pass the exam? What are the best methods I can use in passing the exam? Right? This would be where practical wisdom comes into play. And we are deliberating, again, right, about means, not ends. What this means, though, is that something other than phronesis must supply the correct ends necessary for deliberation. So this would be the virtues of character. So I need a certain amount of courage, maybe, to be confident in undertaking the test. I need to be honest when I'm taking the test, and so on. So the virtues of character are still associated. They're not completely divorced from the intellectual virtues. Now, phronesis imposes a need for practical lived experience, such that there is no child prodigy who is just an expert at practical deliberation. This requires experience because we need particular events over time to inform us of, I shouldn't eat pizza today because if I want to, perform well on my exam, it's going to kind of make me tired, right? So I need to eat a better breakfast. Experience is going to teach us things like that. We can't just use metaphysical philosophy or speculative philosophy to develop our practical wisdom, even though, of course, it is speculative philosophy and metaphysics, which is able to tell us what then our ultimate end is, which is eudaimonia. Once speculative philosophy, though, has told us what the good is, what it is we should aim at, it's up to practical wisdom to determine how it is we achieve that. Now, in business, of course, we need practical wisdom not only to be efficient in our production of goods and the maximization of profit, but we also, of course, need practical wisdom in ethical issues. Now, sunesis is a part of phronesis, right? Practical wisdom. Phronesis involves judgment or comprehension. So what is involved in employing belief to, let's say, justice, what someone else says about what concerns practical wisdom. This means that sunesis does not issue commands, it only judges what someone else says. So if I want to know what it is I should do, I need to know what is it that this person is telling me about the situation, right? Such that I need to be able to have an informed understanding of what the situation demands. So if I am asked to, let's say, gather information, okay, someone tells me to gather information, I need to know that this means, of course, not to steal information. Now, in applying then the development of sunesis to business, we can see that, of course, we have to nurture the ability to differentiate reliable and unreliable sources of information. And again, of course, this takes experience. So, practically wise leadership decisions are inevitably distributed and dispersed as an organization, because we have to have someone in an organization that disseminates a given objective or a new moral rule of which employees in the business are supposed to follow. Of course, the leader cannot then go in to each and every person and show them exactly what it is that needs to occur. So the business leader has to know, okay, how can I communicate this goal that I want people to realize, right? I have to have a certain judgment such that I can try to make it such that they can best realize information. And on the other hand, the onus is on the workers to best develop and nurture their ability to judge, okay, what is it that my boss is telling me, our new task is, right? How can I best realize that? So in communicating a moral problem to another, let's say if in trying to carry out this new moral rule, I have to know, okay, if I need to tell some of my associates about this new moral rule, what is it that I need to convey? I don't need to give all the context of course, of what is it that went into the thinking of maybe the boss or the business leader. Instead, I need to convey the relevant information to best help my co-workers understand and judge the ethical significance of the problem. So we have to develop, and this isn't something that can be just given in a formulaic way. We can't just learn, oh, this is what judgment is, and we apply this in all cases, right? This requires experience. We have to develop, in a non-formulaic way, a certain a certain ability to already be prepared to comprehend and judge, right, ethical issues in business settings. Another aspect of practical wisdom is discernment. The Greek word is nome. Now, discernment applies to cases where there has been, let's say, a new rule that's been established, or let's say we could even say a law, but where, of course, because a law is general and a law usually can't account for common cases, but of course the world is messy, and so you're going to have uncommon particular cases where we have to know, all right, how do I best apply this new rule or law? Okay, so it might be the case that businesses should be regulated and they need a permit to operate. But does that mean a kid can't sell lemonade, on the street in front of their house without a permit to sell lemonade, right? I have to judge, how should I apply the law? Was the law intended in this case, right, to give a fine to this kid? So we can say, sometimes something is just in a legal sense, that this is the rule, but in a broader moral sense, something is not just. And that's where we need this to develop the ability to discern situations, to say, yes, this is what the law calls for, but this was not the intention of the law, so I will not apply the law in this case. Or, the law intended the situation, but it's not being applied here, so I need to use my ability to discern the situation, right, to better apply this law in this particular uncommon case. Now, considering domain business, of course, business is dynamic and unpredictable. Situations are changing all the time. Sometimes there are supply shortages. Well, should we demand that workers have to work, overnight, 24-hour shifts or something like that to account for this supply chain crunch? We have to discern the situation. And that means it's going to confront us with, less than clear cases where, again, formulaic, action-oriented moral rules are cast into doubt. So I have to know, okay, I have been told that to be a good employee, I need to be efficient. But does that mean I overlook, let's say if I'm a cook, the fact that I'm not so sure if this chicken has been left out for, 6 hours? Well, if I need to be efficient, I just need to cut up that chicken and cook it and get it out, right? No, I need to be able to discern, hold on, I know I'm supposed to be efficient, but this could be a very serious issue. And so I should actually put to the side efficiency, at all costs here. Now, whistleblowers are an example of the application of nome, the ability to discern potentially morally problematic situations, because whistleblowers often feel torn between maybe loyalty to workers or their superiors or organizations and values, where let's say the value of a company is one thing and yet a superior is telling you to do something else. A whistleblower then confronted with this needs to discern in the situation. Do I do what my superior is telling me to do, which I'm obligated to do, or do I refuse and in some way report this? Because really this is a violation of an ethical code of conduct or even potentially a law. Now, of course, how can we develop nome, this ability to discern? Aristotle gives us some advice that we need to learn from mentors, that we watch mentors and how they discern situations and we learn from them. Now, that does not mean, of course, that we just try to do everything as they did it, because they can err sometimes as well. We can learn from our mentors, but we want to go above and beyond our mentors. And through that, right, we develop nome and ultimately develop phronesis, practical wisdom, such that we can better apply moral principles in business settings where it requires judgment on the part of those people that are confronted in real time with ethical situations. This requires reflection. You have to reflect on what did I do today? Could I have done it better? You need to look at what other people did, have mentors. And you need to, over time, right, through experience, through trying one thing and failing or trying another and succeeding, learning what works and what doesn't work.